All right, we're going to get started. I know there's going to be a bunch of people joining us, but we do have a tight time schedule today. So this is our sixth, believe it or not, elected officials webinar as part of the series. This year we obviously, like many things, we're not able to meet in person, but we wanted to make sure that we were able to bring people together to continue the dialogue that this area has been tremendous about between business and our local elected officials. So without great ado, I'm not going to talk a lot. I am Jim O'Callahan, the president and CEO of the South County EDC. I want to thank you all for joining us over the past couple of weeks. And this will be the last of our sessions before we take a break for the end of the year here. So I want to wish everybody happy holidays before we get going. But this will be the last of them. So I'm going to introduce right now somebody who really doesn't need a whole lot of introduction. Mayor Alejandra Sotelo-Solis. First being elected in 2008, only the second woman elected to the council. 10 years later, Alejandra was proud to receive overwhelming support to become the first Latina mayor of National City. Regionally, she serves on the Sandag, Sweetwater Authority, and MTS boards. Mayor Sotelo-Solis is a third-generation National City resident, graduate of Sweetwater High School and an alumni of UC San Diego with a degree in political science. She is a proud member of the SUI Foundation, which provides college scholarships to graduates of her alma mater, and serves on the National Association of Latino Elected Officials Educational Fund Board of Directors. Professionally, Alejandra is president and CEO of her consulting company, La Pluma Strategies, focusing on nonprofit advocacy and grant writing, and is raising her three daughters alongside her husband, Arturo, Sweetwater Union High School District trustee. I would love to introduce Mayor Alejandra Sotelo-Solis.
And I will unmute myself. Thank you again, Jim, for the introduction. And so things are going, as good as possible, I think, during these very challenging times. We've had great collaboration. And I see my colleague, Mayor Dedina from Imperial Beach. And, when we look at the city of National City, we've really tried to lead with heart. My tenure has been the last 2 years. December 18th will be 2 full years as mayor. And it's been nonstop. When I got sworn in, we had 2 weeks to kind of celebrate and have the time off. And my first meeting at the Sweetwater Authority, my father-in-law was a victim of a hit and run in Los Angeles. And through the course of that first year, transitioning into office spaces to going into those new meetings at the regional board, we were in and out of emergency rooms. This was pre-COVID. So 2019 was, doing listening campaigns, really trying to get more finger on the pulse of what the needs of our community were. But for myself personally, in December of 2019, my father-in-law passed from his injuries. And so, when we talked about 2020, kind of entering into that new year, we thought, okay, 2020 is going to be all new. It's going to bring about good opportunities. And little did I know those opportunities were going to be a little different than I started with family, because in February, my grandfather, the patriarch of my dad's side of the family, passed from stroke-related injuries. And I share this because that happened in December of 2019. Then February, my tata passed. And then March, I had my State of the City address. We were so excited, talking about housing, talking about economic development, talking about supporting small businesses. And then COVID-19 hits. And it was, really to think about how as a leader, you have to be nimble. You have to be thinking about things. One, when I have my little ones, I'm mom of three. My oldest, um, when we COVID-19 hit, like many parents, it was, well, what happens with school? And the kids were just about ready to go on to spring break. So spring break came early, and it was, we're never going to be able to see our friends again. And that fear of, at that point, nobody really knew what COVID was. If you got it, would you survive? And so through educational campaigns and really just getting out and working closely with our hospitals and our healthcare partners, I see Monica here, shout out to her, to all of our partners, really, even within the media, our political spaces, to show that the way with which we do and combat COVID-19 is by wearing a mask. And we're proud to be the first one in the county. We did, and I know I got really ugly messages via social media and email sent to my my personal email. But it's also too, I mentioned being a leader is also being nimble and being able to say it's okay to be the first. And as my soon-to-be vice president says, we will be the first, but not the last. And I think that thinking about how we as the city of National City have been kind of working through COVID-19, we've found out, again, I've shared with you before, roof overhead, food and belly, it's making people human and making them whole, feel valued. If they need the help, not being afraid to ask for it. And so partnerships with Miracle Babies to provide diapers for families here in the South Bay. We've been able to do that monthly since August. We've been able to create food distribution with the San Diego Food Bank and Catholic Charities at St. Anthony's. At the onset, they were trying to find, the county was trying to find locations of where to get people tested. And I said, ooh, pick me. What if, what if we do a drive-in testing location on opposite days that we do the food bank? People in the community will know where to go for those resources, as well as know and know where to go get tested, building up that trust. And we've had testing again since early spring or late spring to National City. And it's been great because we need to continue building that trust. Just like with masks, people now are like, okay, yeah, masks protects you, protects me, got it. But it took 9 months to get to this point. 9 months. And then when you walk out the door and you're in your car, you're like, damn it, forgot my mask. You got to run back in. If you don't have your spare in the car, in the purse or wherever. And it's that repetitiveness. I'm an athlete. And so you go back to fundamentals, washing the hands, 6 foot distance, and staying in your family pod. That this latest update in the health order really has created a reminder that some people may or may not want to hear, that you need to abide by these rules. The health orders have never lightened up. They've adjusted for restaurants to open outdoors, some services to provide additional services, but it has not ever been lifted. And I think, as elected officials, it's kind of like we have to keep reminding people, let's go back to the fundamentals and engage where we can to letting folks know that we have all these services. We have rental assistance, we have utility assistance, we have the food, we've got the diapers, we've got now at the county-wide level, additional resources for those businesses that are in trouble due to COVID-19, the 20 million that they've allocated, 4 million for each of the districts, to put their applications in, meeting the deadlines. And this is all on top of, does grandma have enough, medication before, the end of the year when people go on holiday or, decide to really stay in at the house, making sure that people do have enough food in their pantry, and that the kids still have Wi-Fi, because we are still in school until the 18th of December, I believe is the date. And again, just as leaders, being transparent. I know I've shared with you all, and was mentioned earlier, George and Jim and even Alan, with regards to the vaccine. I took that on because I wanted to show and kind of dispel those myths. This is what happens when you take a vaccine, when you're part of a trial. I've never been part of a something like this. So being able to say, if I'm asking this of you, I should be able to say, I'll put my hand up as well and be able to do it. Because just with fundamentals, we know there is going to be a vaccine. And if it took 9 months to get people comfortable with a mask, and that's a piece of material, you can only imagine how much more it's going to take for folks to feel comfortable getting an injection of a vaccine, of something that has been fast tracked, that has been, yes, has gone through all the trials, gone all through the hoops. And but I think it's recognizing that as leaders, we have to be willing to take that and say, this is what it is. And it's not perfect. I mean, I got even on social media, like, well, we can't wait till she grows another eyeball or a tentacle. And then if that doesn't happen, then maybe I'll take the vaccine. And then people are still like, she took it. Well, maybe it's this and maybe it's that. And it's just like, you guys, I took the nasal swab. You actually got to see them draw blood. This was legit real. But also too, I was sharing earlier, I'm taking my temperature and my pulse ox 3 times a day. It's giving me the opportunity to stop and listen to my body. We don't do that enough. We talk about self-care and, oh, you need to do this. But sometimes we're moving so fast in the daily lives that we don't listen to our bodies. And I don't know about you all, but I've never taken my pulse ox 3 times a day before this, or taken my temperature 3 times a day, recognizing that, any cough, sneeze, I'm to my husband, did I have this bump before? Did I have this? And it's that real purposeful being in the moment, attention to myself, that as leaders, I'd encourage you all to do, because COVID-19 has taken its toll with the mental health of all of us. And now my little ones are officially out of school, and they're all playing dolls in the other room. So don't mind if you hear my children, but it's being present for all of them as well, and being okay with needing to take that step back. And that's one thing that COVID-19 has brought about for me. But economic development engine-wise, yesterday we had a phenomenal roundtable with a number of our partners, both in the educational field and from the working waterfront, the Marine Boat Group, the UC San Diego Extension, Southwestern College, Dean Perry, as well as Dr. Burke from the adult school. And why we had the roundtable was, I feel it's important that, just like we're talking about vaccines being the next thing, it's also to the job creation, and not so much building new jobs, but preparing ourselves and our workforce for those opportunities. If we have, with UC San Diego, they have partnerships with Apple and coding. Well, guess what? Everybody's on Zoom, and we're going to be on Zoom or some type of platform for the next probably year, if not, till summer, late winter. But how cool would it be if we provided those opportunities for our students and our 91950 parents to learn how to code, and have their own job in that job market. again, it's the higher paying jobs, the good wages that also happen at the working waterfront. Being able to say, well, what does it take to work for PASHA or work for NASCO? Learning about the trades within we had the IBEW, the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, talk about their apprenticeship program. Their jobs start at $14 an hour for those that are not in the apprenticeship program. Once you're in the apprenticeship program, it goes up from there. Plus you get insurance, plus you get, you know, your 501c3 or 401k. So it's all of these opportunities that we have to kind of start setting the groundwork for. And during my tenure of the last 2 years, I felt that it's important to deal with and address the here and now, but also to have the vision and to dream big. Because if we don't have the ganas, the desire to want to build something bigger and better, you know, we're always going to just be satisfied with what we have. And again, I'm not saying to not be satisfied with what we have, because I'm very happy with what we have, but this is a starting block. We can go up and build from here. And so yesterday's roundtable was amazing, to have the dialogue, to really engage with all of those partners, and to know that we as a whole can engage, talk about the environment, talk about ways with which we can bring, you know, community gardens or healthy eating to our city, while thinking about housing that is affordable for all, and meet our RENA needs, and provide transportation, and fight COVID-19. So, you know, it's a non-stop, constant, ongoing dialogue. But I love my job. I have to tell you, I love what I do. And being in this role for the last 2 years has been humbling. You know, being on the council for 10 years prior to that was humbling. And being a leader during COVID-19 has been humbling. And I look forward to continuing to have the dialogue and continue to have the engagement with so many members in both English and Spanish. I'm trying to learn my Tagalog for my Filipino brothers and sisters out there, or as we say, my Filiprimos. And I think that, you know, it's ongoing, and I'm looking forward to 2021. We will have a new administration in the federal government. Hopefully, Congress passes some type of federal support plan by the end of this week before they go on break. Fingers crossed. If not, then come next year, we're really going to have to push. And I want to thank South County EDC for all of their support over the years to helping National City to really continue to bring those resources within our 91950 zip code, but also too, we're regional partners because when Chula Vista succeeds, we succeed. When San Diego succeeds, we succeed. And it's that mutual beneficial relationship that, you know, I've appreciated over the course of my leadership. But hey, I'm a third generation National City resident, so having seen this for a while, pretty much my whole life, you know, I expect nothing but from our community. And with that, Jim or Efrain, if you have any questions or however you'd like to go next, yeah, let me know.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mayor. And we enjoy the partnership that we share with the city. And I want to commend you and your entire team there, especially Megan at the city, being able to respond very quickly during this crisis and get money out into the hands of businesses as they needed it. That was tremendous. And I know just today I shared with Megan a business that was having some to help move that needle as well. So without, I know we only have a couple of minutes for questions. I wanted to, who would like to shoot out a question first here?
I do.
Oh, Patricia, there we go.
Yeah. Hi, Mayor. You are awesome. You're a leader, and I congratulate you. You're really an example. I would like to know, what is your thought regarding the closing for these 3 weeks? How do you think the businesses are going to be surviving after, a third close down? When restaurants and all of them, they invested already to put their business outside, especially the restaurants. And how are you as a major going to help them in a way that they can stay afloat?
So thank you, Patricia, for the question. I think this is a multi-pronged answer. So I will start with the first one. I have been supporting them by using my own money and going and buying and supporting these small businesses. I've bought gift certificates. So if any of my family members or friends get these, act surprised. So because I'm actually giving gift cards to some of our local restaurants as gifts, so friends can and family members can actually go and shop. So it's kind of like a double win for them, the small business. Two, when we had the initial CARES Act money, we did have the small grant through South County EDC, where we provided grants to over 35 businesses in the 91950 zip code. That's why I mentioned, I really, really, really hope that there is a stimulus package that comes before the end of the year for our small businesses. This is critical. This is make or break time. And so I'd encourage everyone to contact our legislative slate from San Diego, and hell, call everybody, and make sure that they know that we need this. Because if it doesn't happen before the end of the year, a lot of people are going to be having to shut down, and for good. And then I would say third is, we know that the businesses have invested in the outdoor dining. This 3-week period is a reminder to stay home when possible. Don't be partying. Don't go to a wine tasting, blah, blah, baptism, wedding, fill in blank. Like, this is not the time for that. So it's the way I'm, sharing it with my community is, it's a reminder to what the intensity is, because on top of the COVID-19 time, it's also the flu season. And I probably got my flu shot, but there's some people who will get hit twice as hard by this. So the ones that are able to, continue the takeout, continue the delivery services, the outdoor services that they provided will be used after these 3 weeks. In my heart of hearts, that investment will not be lost. I think they will be able to have the outdoor dining. And in National City, we've waived the fees for those permits for those businesses to be able to have the outdoor dining. Again, through the grant through South County EDC, as well as engagement with the county, that we're saying apply for the $4 million that are available for District 1, which includes the city of National City. So it's just all of those elements, just really knowing that this is a finite amount of time, 3 weeks, and then we see where we're at. If people heed the advice and follow directions as we did in early March, I really think we can get out. But this is a 21-day sequester, a 21-day update. So people need to recognize, as a whole, if we do not acknowledge this, it's going to be even worse for the small business. And so those folks that are like, well, we can't, they better be the first ones that are inside their home every Friday night, or they should be out supporting those small businesses and providing, those financial resources to those small businesses. And maybe it's, we encourage people and mandate, at least one time a week you have to go get takeout, or in your district. But you can't do that. We live in a democracy, but we can give advice and share what steps I'm taking to do that. And I think, again, it's demonstrating what that looks like.
Thank you. I think we have time for another question.
Thank you, Alejandra.
Thank you.
Is there another question for the mayor?
I can ask. Hi, Mayor Alejandra. How are you?
Hola,
I have
Adriana.
a question. How is the city of National City handling enforcement? Will there be any type of enforcement of anybody that is breaking the rules? We hear different things from different counties. So just curious how National City is going to handle that.
Well, we've been in contact with the county sheriff's department, as well as other local departments, because the National City, we have our own fire and we're our own police department. So as we're getting updates from Dr. Wooten about the health orders, we were told, that the sheriffs are going to provide cease and desist orders to those businesses that were not in compliance. Well, so that was about 3 weeks ago. And at that point, our fire department and our inspectors went out and provided 300 businesses updated packets of information on what the updated health orders meant, what the changes were going to do to affect that particular industry. And we have not had one violation. Everybody's really heeding the advice. And even when I get tagged on Facebook, oh my gosh, this store doesn't have this, or they haven't been working on this, or, we send our inspectors just to, just as shoppers, they're doing their own thing and they say, hey, you know what? They're actually doing a good job, or this is what we noticed. And, just like this, this weekend, went to a little restaurant, did my thing and popped my head into one of the barber shops and, just said, hey, thank you for staying open. That was like their last day that they could stay open. But I also suggested, hey, you need to apply for this money and get yourself kind of in that pipeline because most people just don't know. They're dealing with the day-to-day. And, we can share and continue to share. But like I said, with the mask, it took 9 months to make people feel comfortable about wearing masks. How are they going to know about $4 million and the grant process, the deadlines, and you have to have XYZ financial paperwork? So it's through Megan and Brad that we've been able to, again, do some hand holding that, that's what we should be doing in providing those details. But the enforcement aspect, we are still giving out free masks. PD is out there when they see people that are wearing masks. They have a stack of facial coverings that they provide to the residents and say, hey, you know why we do this, right? And they do it professionally and they do it with a smile. And yeah, so we still have that. And we noticed that the calls for service went down during the beginning of COVID-19. And then they picked up a little bit during the summer and it was more noise complaints, but they've remained steady for the most part for the city of National City.
Thank you. I appreciate all you do for our community.
Thank you, Elena.
Well, thank you, Mayor Sotelo-Solis. I really appreciate you joining us today. I know you have to get to another appointment, but I do want to thank you for your time. And if you have any final thoughts you want to share with the group, we'd love to hear that.
Oh, I just want to say thank you to all of our partners here. We know that there's so much more that is going to be done. And by working together, we really can do this for our region. And I truly, truly, truly believe in that. And I look forward to working with you all, hopefully soon in person. I would just recommend, as we go back to fundamentals, I just want to encourage all of us here to really start having those conversations with our family members about the vaccine. As we don't talk about money, we don't talk about our body, we don't talk about politics, but all of those things we need to talk about. And if you can do it now, by the time a vaccine does come around, it may be a little easier. And we're having those conversations even within my family. So thank you again, Jim, Efrain, the entire South County DC board for the opportunity. And I give you all a big virtual hug Today, the Southwestern College Board trustees are a final, or I don't want to say retiring, but Tim's becoming a judge and Nora's becoming supervisor. So right now they have their bon voyage. So I will be providing them a certificate of recognition on behalf of the City of National City. So I thank you, and I apologize for not being able to stay longer, but I heart you all. If you're ever in National City, please email me or text me. You've got my number, and I wish you all the very best.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So Councilmember McCann is a lifelong resident of Chula Vista, growing up in a blue-collar family where his single mother worked at the Roar Industries factory. John is now raising his family in Chula Vista and has 2 boys who are bilingual in Spanish and English. John McCann holds a bachelor and master's degree in economics and worked at the nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office. John McCann is a decorated Iraq War veteran, having served at Camp Diamondback, a forward operating base in Mosul, Iraq, and is a member of the Navy Reserves. Recently, during the beginning of COVID-19 pandemic, Commander McCann was assigned to FEMA headquarters in Washington, D.C., serving on the data analytics team to surge and expedite PPE to critical hotspots in the United States and to protect healthcare workers and save lives. Councilmember McCann, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I think I know at least half of everybody here, and I very much appreciate you guys taking time to be here and supporting, especially the South County EDC. I believe that I'm going to just talk a little bit about Chula Vista, and then I have to literally get into a council meeting here. And one of the great things about Chula Vista is it's a diamond in the rough. And when you look at all the opportunities that Chula Vista does have, it's really amazing. When I grew up in Chula Vista, there were 70,000 people. Now we're over 275,000 people. So we've done a good job at being able to move things forward, but there are a couple large projects that we haven't been able to actually accomplish yet. But I'm going to use a football term, and I apologize if anybody wants a different type of term, but I believe we're on the 5-yard line and it's 1st and goal to be able to get our bayfront done. My old neighbor at my mom's house used to always come over when I would come over and visit my mom and tease me and say, "Hey, John, how's that bayfront doing?" And I would tell him it's moving along. We're moving forward. We've got to do this and this. And then he goes, "You know, John, that bayfront project's been around before you were even born. It's literally been something that the city's been wanting to do for over 60 years. And we're, again, at the goal line, just hoping we can finally get it going. We have a incredibly great developer, Rita, and they're going to put in a hotel resort. That's an incredible opportunity. South of that, we have Pacifica. They have a wonderful project. Again, it's a multi-billion-dollar project, and everything was just incredibly going well until we hit COVID again. So timing just always seems to be a challenge sometimes with the Chula Vista Bayfront, but I'm very excited. We're still working with the port. We believe we have a couple more things that we're going to do. We're going to cross the T's and dot the I's and hopefully have the groundbreaking mid next year. And once that happens, I think we're really going to enjoy that. Let me ask everybody here a question. Has anybody ever been to a Gaylord resort? I think Lisa's saying yes. Gaylord Resort, what they do is they have an incredibly exceptional business model where they will sign up with a large company, let's say an insurance company or another company that tends to have annual conventions. And instead of having the company have to do all this legwork to be able to rent a hotel and do things like that, they say, listen, we'll sign a 3-5-year contract with you, and you can stay at a Gaylord resort. And they have different resorts throughout the country, all the way from Opryland to Arizona now, now in Colorado. And Chula Vista would be the West Coast Gaylord resort. And so the neat thing about that is everything is a constant flow of people coming, because many companies realize that they would rather sign up with Gaylord and have a contract with Gaylord than do all the legwork of setting up their conventions, because they don't want to either go to Las Vegas every year, or they don't want to go somewhere else, and they want to make sure that they're going around doing quality conventions. And so it's been a great niche for Gaylord, and ultimately we're on the cusp of being able to make that happen and having it in Chula Vista. Now, some of you sometimes will sit there and go, well, what about the Chula Vista or the San Diego Convention Center? Aren't you going to be a competitor of that? And the reality is no. The San Diego Convention Center does large conventions, and they mainly compete with Las Vegas in large conventions, let's say in Paris. These are people who already have contracts with Gaylord, and they tend to be smaller or medium-sized conventions. And if anything, we believe that we will be able to work collaboratively with the San Diego Convention Center. So with that, I really believe that if we can finally get it to happen, it's really going to change the entire west side of the city of Chula Vista, and it's going to be a catalyst to help our businesses and our community when we can get that going. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions if anybody has a question.
Go right on. Oh.
I have a question.
Yes.
Okay, so
Thank you, Alan.
we were excited about this, the Bayfront development, and my wife said, well, why don't we get a condo down there? And I said, okay, great idea. Let's get into that. And so we looked into the affordability of the units available. And I think the cheapest one was a 1-bedroom condo at $1 million. And I thought, I don't think we can quite afford that. So I'm sorry, we won't be able to live in that development. And you weren't on, before you came on, my question was about affordable housing and solving the problem that the whole region has. If we overbuild high income housing, housing for, $2-3 million for extremely wealthy individuals, and we underbuild the middle income housing, and we way underbuild the middle income housing, and we underbuild the low income housing. So the middle income people have to buy all the cheap houses, and then the low income people have nothing, or they don't have a choice. If they have a big medical bill, they're out on the street. So I hope that and I know you can't change all the plans now, but I wish there were a way that there were some middle income housing going into the Bayfront. And also I talked to Ash Israni, the Pacifica guy. I just caught him as he was leaving a meeting, and I said, well, why don't we do some co-housing there on the, where families design their own neighborhoods? And he says, oh, everything's already been planned out for 10 years. It's already fixed, nothing can be changed. And so is that where we're at?
So essentially, we are at the end of the process. And I grew up in Chula Vista back when it was mainly just the west side. And I remember when my friends' parents actually started doing better financially, and what they would do is they would move. And Chula Vista has historically, and still does, provides the lion's share of affordable housing in the county. And one of the great things that we were able to do is in our master plan communities in East Lake, Otay Ranch, Rolling Hills, is be able to not only house people from the mailroom, but all the way up to the boardroom. And we do have a great diversity of affordable housing, middle income, and even high-end housing. Because again, if you started becoming pretty wealthy in the city of Chula Vista, you most likely would leave. But we want everybody to be able to be part of our community. So yes, what's happening is the Pacifica project is pretty much done. The Gaylord project again is different, and that's on Portland, and that won't have any housing at all. But we do believe that with the redevelopment of the Bayfront, you're going to see a lot of middle income housing come very, very close to the Bayfront projects. And again, ultimately, one of the biggest challenges is the middle income, because we have a lot of subsidies to be able to build affordable housing. And then there's a lot of folks that are wealthy, and so the price isn't as big of a factor. But working class, blue collar folks like my family, it's hard to be able to buy a property or even just to rent a property. And so I do agree with you that the middle income folks are the ones that the housing should be increased. So good question, Alan.
Great. Well,
Okay,
great
I can
answer
take-
too. And I respect the fact that a Home Fed has built a lot of affordable housing and a couple other developers. And I guess we're in Otay Ranch. I guess we can just stay where we are. You know, we don't have to live on the Bayfront. You know, we can go visit it. We can go have dinner down there. We don't have to live there. So very good answer, John. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Alan. Okay, I've got to go, but I'm going to take one quick question because Mari had her hand up. So go ahead.
Hi, John. Thank you so much for your time. And I'm so excited about the marina there. I mean, the development's going to be fantastic. But I do have a very important question, because I see you right there in front of the beautiful Olympic Training Center. And there's been a lot of talks about the East County and a university, a development, energy corridor, Purdue University. I mean, it's like, so what is in the developments, or is that just been, is there a kibosh on that, or are there developments still in place for that?
So that is a great question. And this is a very long-term project. One of the things that we did, well, I'll give you the history. Back in the 90s, the city of Chula Vista started having a vision of having a UC Chula Vista. And then when they went to the UC Regents, they said, hey, we're still having challenges with UC Merced, and we don't see a UC Chula Vista in the near future. So then Chula Vista then a decade later said, hey, let's look at state schools and things like that. Again, the state was going through some financial challenges, and they said, well, you sort of already have SDSU there. We don't know if we'll want to basically have another state college. And then again, last couple decades, we've opened it up to look at private universities and even some religious universities. So the long-term play is to do that. And we've actually designated quite a bit of acreage, over 200 acres, to have a university. And we'd like to do something like a binational, where maybe we take a college or university and partner with them from Mexico or Latin America. And we are still talking to different colleges. One of the challenges is we will, you know, and this is sort of one of those things that I believe that they didn't necessarily think about the full costs of having a university. But in the past it was, oh, we'll just give them free land and they'll come. Well, you talk to a Purdue University or a BYU or Harvard, and they sit there and go, okay, that's nice, you have land, but how are we going to get the infrastructure? So we're sort of still on that direction. HomeFed, one of the real estate developers, is looking to remake their village around a university. And so it's a project that is ongoing, but at some point in time, I do believe there's going to be some type of university in Chula Vista, and we'll see what happens. So, hey,
Well,
I
thank you.
apologize. I've
Thank
got
you.
to get into the council meeting so I don't get marked absent. I will talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.
So thank you very much. Have a good evening. We'll see you all soon.